Hi, welcome back. Our last video we put out was about recovering from an ACL injury. Today, I wanted to talk about preventing ACL injury because once we injure our ACL, that ligament tends to get a little bit more slack, and each time we sprain it, it gets more and more flexible. And it doesn't really shorten back up as much as we think it does because it's a ligament. So, the best way to prevent an ACL injury is by strengthening everything around it to maintain maximum stability and maximum control at that knee joint. We're going to give you 4 exercises today that can help do this very, very easily. The most important things when it comes to preventing ACL injuries are strength and control. Some of the important muscles are the quads, the hamstrings, and the hips and glute. It's really, really important that we strengthen and gain control of these muscles to help control what's happening at our knee joint during activities and movements. The first exercise we're going to do is a single leg RDL or Romanian deadlift. This is really going to focus on hamstring and glute stability and control. So we're going to start with a dumbbell. For now, we're going to start with a chair for support with our hand or countertop. We're going to plant one leg with a slightly bent knee. And we're going to let this dumbbell dangle. And we're going to kick this leg back here. We're going to pause for a second. And we're going to come back up. And we're going to repeat. We're going to go down, and we're only going as far as we can without forcing our back to round, and as long as our hamstring and hip will allow us to go into depth. We're kicking back. I'm going to feel a hamstring tightness sort of pull there. Pause and come back up. A couple of key notes are, as I kick this leg back, I don't want to rotate here. And I don't want to drop this hip this way and shift my weight way over also. As this gets a little easier and you don't need support with your hand, then you can just take 2 dumbbells and kick that back, pause, and come back up. That does require a lot more stability and coordination. I would start with 10 to 15 reps on each side. The next exercise we're going to do is also going to work on quad strength, hip and hamstring strength, but also some of that control in the knee angle here. So this next exercise is a lateral lunge. So we're starting with our feet hip width apart. We're going to take a step. I'm going to go to the right first. We're going to take a step out. We're going to drop down into this position where one leg is bent, one leg is straight. I tend to only go to where this bent knee is bent to about 90 degrees. Pause for a second and drive off this leg to pull us back in. Then we're going to go to the other side, 90 degrees, drive back up off of that leg and return to start position. That's 1 on each side. Let's do 10 to 12 on each side to start. A couple of things to note as we drop down into this lunge position, we want to make sure we're stable and we're controlling this knee so that the knee doesn't cave in here or the heel doesn't lift up. So we're solid on this leg. We also want to try to avoid too much forward tilt here where we're bending like this to lunge rather than being a little bit more upright here. So let's work on those, and that will help bring stability and control. The third exercise is box jumps. Box jumps are going to give us a little bit more control focus because we have to control our knee on the load, the jump, and the landing phases of the box jump, whereas a lunge or an RDL are slightly more basic because there's not that ballistic component to it. So it adds a little more coordination to what we're already trying to do. It also does add an ankle component because on the jumping phase and the catching phase, we do have to stabilize and catch a little bit with the ankle and the foot. So a couple of key things to think about prior to starting. When we're jumping and we're going to load, we don't want our knees to come together here in that load position, because that's going to put direct stress on that ACL. We want to be able to load and keep space between our knees. And then when we're jumping, we're trying to jump so our knees straighten out rather than our knees come in like this as we're ascending for our jump. And then when we go to land, we're trying to land in this same position rather than landing here with our knees together. We're trying to land as quiet as possible so that we can absorb the most force with our muscles rather than our joints and ligaments. So I'll demonstrate a few, and then I'll show you from the front angle the control of my knees. Now, watch the knees here. We're going to start with 10 to 12 reps and work our way higher, starting with a 6-inch box, working our way up to 20 to 24, depending on how high you can jump. The fourth exercise is jump rope jumps. Jump rope jumps are important because they have an agility component to it, but they also have an endurance component to it. So when we're jumping and loading, we'll tend to get tired. This is when we're at highest risk for ACL injury. We're trying to improve the muscular endurance along with the control and coordination. It's important to start shorter periods, so we're going to start with 1 minute and work our way up to 2 to 5 to 10 if that's what you really want. So we're going to start here. Things to think about is knee control, knee angle. We don't want to load and jump here. We want to load and jump in this position. So I'll demo a few jumps and then I'll explain. Notice how my knees didn't come together. Notice how I didn't land on my heels. That's what we're looking for. So start with 1 minute, work our way up to 2. As 2 minutes starts getting easier and my form looks good, then you can add a jump rope in there. Try out those 4 exercises that we just gave you to help prevent ACL injury. Consistency is really key. So trying to do this daily or every other day is going to be a lot more beneficial than do it once a week, especially when it comes to building the control and coordination and the endurance. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share, and drop a comment down below. Thanks. Have a good day.
Want to avoid ACL injuries and strengthen your knees? Start incorporating these exercises today. Don't forget to subscribe for more injury prevention tips and exercises. Valley Rehab, Physical Therapy and Return to Work Center.